Yeah, big change from what we've seen in the past, right? In our previous hearings, we've seen him in that orange or sometimes red jumpsuit with the body vest underneath that. Today, you're absolutely right. Shirt and tie. He was clean shaven. He had his hair cut. It looked like he even had a little bit of gel in his hair. And so as for why today, I'm not sure I can answer that question. It was certainly a change. I think it caught everyone a little bit off guard because I think we were expecting to see him come in shackles and a jumpsuit. And so he definitely had the opportunity to get a little dressed up today.
All right. So which way do we think that the judge is leaning on the issue at hand? Regardless of the sartorial choice of Mr. Kohberger, what do we think the judge is going to do about these gag orders? You know, well, the gag order and the two petitions to amend it or vacate it completely?
Well, I will say that the judge really did listen intently to all of the arguments that were made today. It seemed as if he was learning new information that he had never even heard before, or the fact that the Gonsalves family feels stifled by this gag order. It really seemed to make an impression on him. That being said, my gut tells me that the gag order is still going to be in place, but it's going to be amended a bit. He kept asking Shannon Gray, that's a Gonsalves family attorney, what are you unable to do now that you would like to do? Which really says to me that he's listening. He wants to try to find a compromise. And I think he's going to be spending the next few days searching for what that might be, making specifications to this gag order, narrowly tailoring it to what he thinks would be appropriate for all parties. But to overall lift the gag order, I just don't see that happening, Ashleigh.
Couple of, oh, by the way, I wish you'd asked me what would I do differently that I can't do. And I would say my job as a journalist. I'm the eyes and the ears of the public. That is our job. We bring the public to the proceedings because they can't come themselves. So it's sort of important for the public, not just for, you know, Alex or Ashleigh. It's important for the public. That's just me again on a soapbox. Two witnesses were brought into the hearing. So what was that about? Who were they? What did they say?
Yeah, there was two witnesses that the defense called. I should say, though, that the lawyer representing the media coalition really was objecting to the fact that they were even allowed to testify today. But the judge allowed it to happen and allowed the attorney to cross-examine. But really, these were two different people with two different backgrounds and specialties, right? One is a media expert who literally is trained to look at sort of media impressions online and on air. Anybody who's anybody that's talking about this case, gathering that research and presenting it to their clients, right? And so the media experts said that there were at least 4,000 unique authors. That's what they call anyone that's ever written, spoken, talked about this case. 4,000 unique authors from November to June who talked about this case. When that comes down to it, that's 4 billion unique impressions, meaning 4 billion different times, or you could just say 4 billion different people might have read something about this case. And overall, the point that they're trying to make is that that could lead to people feeling swayed one way or another, depending on what was written about Bryan Kohberger or about this case. And then that's when the social psychologist came in, and he was all about building inherent bias, how people, when they read something, start to develop a bias within themselves that they don't even realize that they have. And so that was really the reason why the defense called these two experts in to talk about all the chatter and online buzz that has come from this massive case and all the online spectacle that it's garnered, and how that might influence a potential jury pool, which obviously goes to the Sixth Amendment right of Bryan Kohberger, his right to a speedy and fair trial, and the possibility that these online discussions and news articles and even stuff that you and I are talking about, Ashleigh, to this day, how that might influence someone without them even realizing it.
Alex Caprariello, thank you for spending the entire day and, you know, absorbing all of that and bringing it to us as our eyes and ears. Much appreciated, and I hope you get full access in the future. Thanks, Alex. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.